Good morning to everyone. We'll start the next chapter, the
Good morning,
address.
ma'am.
Good morning, Pranit.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, the address, what does the address mean to you? Does the address, any address, have a significance in your life? Is it important for you to know any particular address?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what is the importance of address? Suppose I tell you that this is my house, I live here, this is my address. Will you remember this address?
Yes, ma'am. If we will recall daily
Okay, why will you remember it?
to reach your residence.
Okay, to reach the residence. Okay, to reach my residence, you need to know the address,
Address.
right? And
Yes, ma'am.
sometimes, if I ask you, what is the address of your nani or dadi or dada's house? What do you say? Your grandparents' house? Do you remember it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Why do you remember it?
To visit them if we required
To visit
to.
them, right?
Yes,
Because they
ma'am.
have an importance in your life, right? The people who have importance in your life, you like to remember the address of those people, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
But this story, this is quite different. Okay, we will see the story. Okay, the address by Margot Minko. Okay, Margot Minko is the writer. Uh, she was born on 31st March 1920, right, and died at the age of 95 years. She was born in Netherlands, and she had suffered a lot during the Second World War. Right? She was a journalist and a writer, and the famous books that she had written, it is uh, The Bitter Herb, An Empty House, The Other Side, which is a collection of short stories. And she had witnessed the Second World War. And as Netherlands was one of the most affected area which was occupied by the Germans, the Dutch people had to face a lot of problem. You know, the people living in Netherlands are called Dutch, right? So they faced many problems. You know what happens in the war? What happens in the war? Any idea? What is the condition of the general people in the war? No
They
income.
become poor,
Yes,
no income. They become poor and sacrifice their
yes.
races, and they have to be underground to save themselves.
Very good. Can you remember any of the personality in the world who was very famous, and that person had written a diary during the war, which is very famous now?
Anne
Anyone?
Frank.
Anne
Anne
Frank, ma'am.
Frank.
Anne
Very
Frank.
good. Story of Anne Frank, right? The diary of a young girl. It is called the Diary of a Young Girl, written by Anne Frank, right? She also lived in Netherlands, and then she had faced many problems. She had to go to the concentration camp where she died, right? Margot Minko also faced the problem because she was a Jew, okay? And Germans, they were massacring the Jews, and that was the problem faced by each Jew, right? This is about this story. The Address by Mango Marco. It narrates the story of a lady who, after losing her entire family in the Holocaust is the situation after the war where the people were massacred. Okay. During the war, were massacred. This mic is on. Switch off your mic, Pita. Okay, that is the Holocaust. There were concentration camps. There were marches by the people, right? The people were left on their own to march in the desert without food and water, right? So they had suffered a lot. The Jews had suffered a lot at that time. Many of them were put into a hall. Thousands of people were pushed up into the hall and the gas chamber, and the gas was released and they died. So that was the condition of the people. So they had a very bad memory. Okay. She returns to the address, the particular address, in order to collect all her family's possession that the author's mother had left with Mrs. Dorling, a non-Jewish lady, before leaving her homeland. Okay. Now I told you Margot Minko's family was Jew, and all her belongings were given to a non-Jewish lady. Okay. The story portrays human bind that takes after the war. The war had taken even Holland in its hold. Individuals had no well-being of themselves and their property. They were looted, they were massacred, and the condition was very bad. So this story is in the war, during the war, and after the war. Okay, so it has continuity during the war and after the war. The story starts with the narrator who goes to Mrs. Dorling's house, which is number 46 Marconi Street. Okay, this is the address of Mrs. Dorling, right? And she reached there, she read the address, and she knocked at the door. Okay, she saw that the door opened a chink. Opened a chink means a very small gap between the door, right? And the lady could be seen from the door, but she did not open the door completely. It was just a chink, and from that she had a conversation with the author. The author introduces herself as Mrs. S's daughter. S something name starting with S, her mother's name, right? She says, oh, so you have come back. I did not expect anyone to come back, right? The lady, that is Mrs. Dorling, she did not expect anyone to come back. Okay, she did not like the authors coming there. Okay, and that is why she asked, oh, have you come back? I thought that no one had come back. Now the author said that yes, I have come back, and she wanted to enter the house, right? Because she knew that her mother had given so many things to this particular lady, Mrs. Dorling. But a very cold reception by Mrs. Dorling. She says, oh, I don't have time, right? It is not convenient for me to see you now. So I can't see you. She just shut the door on the face of the author. Okay. She did not allow the author to enter into the house. She was very pessimistic, right? A very cold reception by Mrs. Dorling. She did not let the author into the house. Now the author looked at the nameplate again, and it said Mrs. Dorling, right? The house, the number of the house was also correct. 46, number 46, Marconi Street. She thought that I have not come at the wrong address. The address is correct. Okay. Now, she thought that it would be useless knocking at the door again or asking that lady to enter into the house. So she goes away from there. And then she remembers how her mother had given the address. Okay, she remembers the first half of the war. Okay, when she had come to meet her mother, and suddenly she noticed, okay, at once she noticed that there were many things that were missing in her house. There were things which had been in the house earlier, they were no more. Okay, then she told about Mrs. Dorling. She told that she was an old acquaintance who had turned up suddenly. For many years they had not been in contact, but suddenly Mrs. Dorling came to the author's mother and introduced herself. Mrs. Dorling knew the author's mother. The author's mother also knew. They were old acquaintance, but they were not in contact for a very long time. But suddenly in the first half of the war, she turned up, right? Why did she turn up? Do you have any idea? Any one of you can guess it? Why did she come again?
Precious things.
Okay. Why did she want to take the things?
So that she could keep it safe with her.
Okay. See, intentions were not good. Okay. She had come there to get the things. She knew that she is non-Jewish. Okay. So she won't be harmed. Who is going to be harmed? The Jews. And Mrs. S, that is the author's mother, she was a Jew. And Mrs. Dorling was not a rich lady. Okay. She was not having so much of money, and she knew that the author's mother had many things, okay, which could not be taken by her if she went away from there. So she suggested to take all the good things, all the nice things, so that they can be saved in case the mother had to leave, right? If the war continues, if the situation worsens, the author's mother will have to leave that place. Okay. And if she has to leave that place, she cannot take all those things with her. So Mrs. Dorling, she offered, right? She suggested that I will take all these things with me so that I can protect them. I can save them, right? Now, the author was a bit annoyed. She thought that, did she ask you to take all these things? The author's mother says, as if it was necessary. That means it was not necessary for Mrs. Dorling to ask what she was taking. She just came into the house, picked up everything, packed it in a bag or a suitcase, and then she went away. Now, the author became a bit angry at this. Right? She did not like Mrs. Dorling taking away the things. But her mother asked her to keep quiet. Okay, because she was also afraid. She was all alone, and she was a Jew, and that is why she was having a lot of problems. So she said that let it be. Don't say anything. Okay. Now, the condition of Mrs. Dorling, right? Whenever she came, she had a full suitcase, okay? A suitcase full of things or a bag full of things. And whenever she came, she went away with that. Now, the author's mother says that she was risking her life every time she goes out with full suitcase or bag. Why she was risking her life? Any idea? Mrs. Dorling was risking her life.
Ma'am, because she is helping a Jew.
Okay, one thing, the other?
She might be looted.
Yes, right. She might be looted because it was wartime. And in the wartime, there is scarcity of jobs, scarcity of money, scarcity of resources, right? And everyone wants to have the things that they need. And for that, they go to any extent. They can loot or they can murder. So if she is having a suitcase full or bag full of things, she is risking her life. Okay, she can be looted, she can be killed. But she did not stop. Every time she came, she had taken all those things that were in the house of the author's mother. Right? Now the mother says that she had taken the silvers at one go. That means silvers is the silver cutlery. Okay, the cutlery means, what is cutlery? Yes, the spoon, fork and knives, right? The things which we use to eat with, that is cutlery. And they were made of silver. So in one go she had taken the silvers, that is the silver cutlery, the antique plates, right? She had plates, pewter plates which were antique, and Mrs. Dorling had taken away. Then she says that the vases, which were beautiful and antique vases, and the crockery, everything that she had taken, and every time she took those away, it seemed as if she is going to hurt her back. Okay, why she would hurt her back? Because it was very difficult to carry those heavy loads. Okay, and as she carried those heavy loads, she might break her back. So she risked her life, she risked her body, but still she took everything from the house of the author's mother. Okay, now she says that she had once seen Mrs. Dorling. She had a broad back, right? Because she had seen Mrs. Dorling from the back, and she says that Mrs. Dorling had a broad back. And when the author's mother introduced her, that this is my daughter, and she introduced, this is Mrs. Dorling, she did not pay a lot of attention, right? Okay, she nodded and just picked up the suitcase and went away. She did not even care to talk to the author. She was not interested in the family. She was not helping the family. She was just filling her house. Okay, she was taking away the costly, important things from the house of the author's mother. So this was also a kind of looting. Okay, right? She did not mind the presence of the author even after being introduced by her mother.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, but why was she doing so?
Why?
Means why was Mrs. Darling was doing so?
She was making money. She was filling up her house. She knew that Mrs. S, the author's mother, had very costly things, and she was poor. And she knew that during the war, the Jews are going to be killed. Okay, and if she is killed, all those things would be looted by the others. So she took the advantage of the situation, showing concern, right? False concern that I'm taking these things so that they would be safe. Okay?
Oh,
Although,
yes, ma'am.
although it was her lust, her greed to collect the things. Okay? And in this position, at this point, the author's mother tells the author to remember the address, Mrs. Dorling, house number 46, Marconi Street. That means whenever after war, if you come back, you go to that house and collect the stuff. Okay? You collect the things which belong to us. If after war, we are going to survive. So this was in the war, in the middle of the war, in the first half of the war, right? Then the story continues post-war. The situation where we saw that the author had gone to Mrs. Dorling's house. It was after the war. Okay? Right? Now she comes back to the present situation, that is the after war. Right? She did not want to go back even after the liberation. Liberation means when Netherlands was free, right? Free of the Germans. She did not want to go back because there were so many things which would bring back the pain, right? The emotions, the things that she doesn't want to remember. Okay, and that is why she did not want to go back. During this period, she had lost her mother also. Okay, her mother was no more. So she was not interested in going to her mother's house because that would bring back the memories she had in her childhood, right? When she stayed with her mother, when she had a wonderful childhood. Okay, she was not interested in the stored stuff and was also afraid of being confronted with the things having a connection that no longer existed. If she looked at the things, at the stored stuff, that is the things that were with Mrs. Dorling, if she went to look at those things, she would be confronted and she would be remembering the connections that those things had in her life with these things, with the human beings who no longer existed. That means her mother, right? If she would see the cutlery, she would remember her mother. If she would see the plates, she would remember her mother. So she did not want to go back. She says that they were hidden in the cupboards and boxes waiting to be put in the places. But she doesn't want to go there. The things are kept there. The rest of the things which were still in her mother's house, she did not want to go there. Now everything was fine. That means post-war. Everything was fine. Things were becoming normal, right? Bread getting to be lighter color. What does this mean? Bread getting to be a lighter color. See, bread is made up of white flour, right? The maida. That is considered to be of good quality. But the poor people cannot afford to have the bread of white color. So they go for darker bread, the wheat bread, the rye bread, right? The other cheaper bread, right? Which is not of white color. That is of darker color. Okay, if you make the bread out of the dark colored flour, it will become dark. So it was of darker color, but now the things were better. That means people were earning money and now they could afford to have white bread. Okay, they could afford to have bread of lighter color. They were not so poor now, they were earning money. Now they could sleep in the bed unthreatened. Earlier, if they slept in the bed, they were threatened that they might be attacked, they might be taken out of their houses, they might be sent into the concentration camps, they might be facing the bombardment, right? So the war was always a threat for the people, so they could not sleep even in their houses. They were enjoying the view from the window. Earlier, the windows were covered with black papers. Okay, so they could not see what is going on outside. Why the windows were covered with black papers? Any idea? See, the windows were covered with black paper so that in the evening, when you switch on the light doesn't go out. And if there is any enemy's airplane that is there to bombard, they would not be able to locate the buildings, right? Because there is no light. And if there is light, they can see that people are living here, they would go on bombarding the places. So windows were covered with black papers, strips, right? But now they have been removed and they are enjoying the view from the window. And suddenly now she becomes curious about the possessions. She wanted to see them, she wanted to feel them, she wanted to touch them, and indirectly she wanted to feel her mother. Okay, and now she wanted to get those things from Mrs. Dorling, and that is why she had reached the address. Okay, now as she was going back, she thinks that she must give one more try, right? A second chance to enter into the house of Mrs. Dorling. So the second attempt of the author, now this time a girl of about 15 opened the door. This was Mrs. Dorling's daughter, right? The author told her who she was. She asked whether her mother was there or not. So the daughter said that though no mother was not there, she was doing an errand. That means she had gone out to earn some money by doing a petty works. So she asked the author to come in and wait for her mother. Now the author had the chance to enter into the house of Mrs. Dorling. Okay, they went through the passage, and in the passage there was a big mirror, and there was an old Hanukkah candle holder in the passage. Okay, this is the Hanukkah candle holder. It is usually made up of brass or silver or heavy metal. It is very heavy, right? The candles are kept in these holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, these are 7 candles which can be placed in this holder. Okay, so 7 candles would burn together. Now here the author says that this also belonged to her, right? It belonged to her mother. And she says that we did not use this Hanukkah candle holder because it was very cumbersome. It was very heavy. It was very difficult to hold that candle holder. So they did not use it, they kept it there. Mrs. Dorling had taken that Hanukkah candle holder also. And now it was kept in the passage. Okay. Now she enters into the room. And she says that she was in a room she knew and did not know. Okay. She knew the room. That means all the things in the room belonged to her mother. Are you getting it? Can you understand this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
She knew. Why did she know? Why did she know? Why did she know the room?
Because everything belonged to her mother.
Very good. And she did not know because all things were tastelessly arranged. They were very unkempt, right? They were just placed here and there. They were not decorated, were tastelessly arranged. The furniture was very ugly and there was a muggy smell. Muggy smell means the smell usually you get during the rainy season. What happens if the room is closed for a few days? You get a very dirty smell, right? A very bad smell out of that room from the clothes, from the wet things. That is muggy. Okay, so that room was pathetic for the author and she was impressed in that situation. Your mic is on. Switch off your mic. Yes. Okay, so the things were familiar to her, but in the way that it was kept, it was very pathetic. And that is why she says that she did not know the room. She knew the room and she did not know the room. She knew the room because everything belonged to her mother, and she did not know because all the things were very pathetically kept. Okay. Now the daughter of Mrs. Dorling, she is preparing tea and she asks the author if you would have the tea. The author is ready to have the tea, and the girl, she takes out one of the teapots. The author remembers her teapot. Okay, there was a silver lining on the teapot, and she remembers, but here she sees that it was very unkempt, right? It was not taken care of, so it had become very dirty. Okay. Then she tells about the silvers. Now, as the author enters, she sits on the chair, and on the table there is a tablecloth. Okay, she takes hold of the tablecloth and rubs her hand. Right, there was embroidery in the tablecloth. There was a pattern. Okay, and it was so dirty that the pattern was hiding behind the dirt. So she rubbed and the pattern was revealed. Then she came to know that this also belonged to her mother. Okay, and then she started moving her hand, and that somewhere in the corner there was a burn mark. She was trying to find that. Okay, now she says that there was a nice box. The author says that, and whenever she is speaking, the author here says that the voice that is coming, her own voice, it seemed as if it was very, very unfamiliar. Right? Her own voice seemed very unnatural to her, very unfamiliar to her, as if someone else is speaking. Okay, that means she was not comfortable in that situation. Okay, now this girl opened a box and took out some spoons. Okay, now the author came to know that they were the spoons that belonged to her mother. They were silvers. Right? Now she says, that's a nice box. The girl says, oh, do you know them? And then she says, my mother says it is antique. And she says, we have a lot of more spoons and forks and knives. Right? She says these plates and these silver, these fork and this spoon and knife, we use it in everyday life. Now, the author says that they were silvers. Do you know them? The little girl did not know that they were silvers. Okay. The author says, even I did not know that they were silvers. Once what happened, the author's mother asked her to help polish the silvers. The author was surprised. Where are the silvers? She did not know what are the silvers. So her mother said, the spoon, the fork, the knife that you eat from, that is the silver. So she came to know at that time when her mother asked her to polish the silvers, that these cutlery were made of silver. And she was also not surprised that this small girl also did not know that they were made of silver. Right? The author saw the pewter plate. Right? Pewter is a metal. The pewter plate, the antique pewter plate which was displayed in her house. Okay. And there was a design of apple on the pewter plate which she admired a lot. Okay. So all the things that the author sees in the house of Mrs. Dorling, they were bringing back the memories that she had with them. But the situation was different. Her mother took care of everything, whereas Mrs. Dorling did not take care of anything. Right? Okay? And then the girl who did not know that she was eating from silvers, or she ate from the antique plate, and she said that there is nothing different. Even if you eat out of the antique plate, it is nothing different. The author wanted to take those things which belonged to her mother, but suddenly an aversion was created. Right? An aversion was created even by looking at the burn mark in the tablecloth. Right? She says that there was a burn mark somewhere on the edge which was never repaired, and she finds it. That means Mrs. Dorling had brought the tablecloth and used it as it was. She never thought of repairing the tablecloth. Right? Now here the author says that we get used to our things that we don't look at them anymore. We are used to it, right? If there are silvers in my house, I'm used to it. If there are pewter plates, antique pewter plates, I'm used to it. If there is a burn mark in the tablecloth, I'm used to it. We notice it only when something is missing because it had to be repaired or because you have lent it. The author here is stressing on lent it because she had lent it to Mrs. Dorling. She wanted it back. But suddenly her mind changes, and looking at the conditions of the things that were in the house of Mrs. Dorling, she gets up. Right? She gets up fast and moves out of the house. She says that now it is the time I have to take the train. Okay? The excuse that she gives herself for not collecting her mother's belonging. Right? She says that anyway, she doesn't have space to keep those things. She has a very small house. Okay? Where should she keep it? The things are already placed in her house. The drawers are full of cutlery. The things are placed in her small house. Where would she keep all these things of her mother if she takes it? Right? So she says that she has a small house which is still having shreds of blackout papers. Shreds means small pieces. Shreds of blackout papers. They are still not totally removed. That means she has still not come out of the fear of war. Okay, so she goes away from there. Right? She doesn't wait, and then she resolves to forget the address. She doesn't want to remember the address, and she says, of all the things that I have to forget, this is the easiest thing that I can do. To forget the address is the easiest thing to do. She doesn't need to forget other things, but she needs to forget the address, and it would be very easy. If she remembers, she is going to face a lot of problem, right? Now, I'll tell you what actually the story is. It highlights human predicament that follows war, the situation that we have, the feelings that we have. The story beautifully delineates the pain, anguish, and mental torture of the survivors of war. What happens to the people who have undergone that situation where they are afraid every second that they are going to die? Right? The narrator, that is Margot Minko, a Jew, returned back to her native city after the war was over. She had already suffered many losses, including the irreparable loss of her dear mother. That means her mother had died. After the war, she faced the loneliness and challenges alone. She had no one to share her life with. So she went to Mrs. Dorling to get her mother's cutlery, crockery, utensils, and other household things. Mrs. Dorling's cold, indifferent, and discouraging behavior further depresses her. Finally, she decides to leave her mother's things and forget them forever. Why? Because it brings out the light, it brings to light the fact that holding on to the past can be extremely painful experience. Right? Suppose you lose someone and you keep these things belonging to that person with you, and whenever you look at those things, you remember that person, and that pain comes back and back and back, and that is irreparable loss. Right? It goes without saying that forgetting the moments and the experience that torment means torture you, can be really daunting task, a difficult task. But once you accept your past wholeheartedly, you tend to get a big weight off your back. Now, if you accept the situation as it is, you know you cannot change it. And if you cannot change it, you should accept as it is. And once you accept it, a big mental pressure that you have is relieved, right? The author, despite being attached to memories of her past, had the courage to leave them behind in order to make a fresh beginning. Okay, the address by Margot Minko is indeed an inspiring story which sheds an adequate amount of light on the importance of letting things go. Letting things go. Don't hold on to past, right? It further reiterates that both past and future are illusion, and all we have with us is the present. So enjoy your present, right? Don't hold on to past. There are many events in the past which are very painful. We should not remember them again and again, right? We should try to forget them. As soon as you forget your past, you cope up with the loss. Okay, if you have a very painful memory, you leave it behind, and then if you go back to the future, to the present, you live in the present, you are going to enjoy your life, right? Okay, so this is a wonderful quote that I have taken. There was never a good war or a bad peace, right? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the story clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Anything that you want to
Yes,
ask?
ma'am.
Yes, Amrisha, anything that you want to ask, beta?
No, ma'am.
Very clear? No
Yes,
problem?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So try to attempt the exercise, and if you have any problem, you can ask. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.